Great. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I do want to say really quickly, I am the BDM for Seneca, Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, based out of Georgia. So cover quite a big territory, Florida up to Eastern PA. But with that, I know that some of my team is also on the call. So as Mike had stated, being able to follow up with anybody on this call, your individual BDM for your territory will also be following up with you. So with that, the whole idea here is understanding Seneca and the value that we bring to your business, understanding that getting out there and making sure that you are providing a value add to your customers and being efficient, being sticky with them, if you will, and of course, having a smooth install and solution to your customer is really what we're all about. So with what Seneca does, what does that experience look like to you guys? So Seneca is a compute technology, if you will, for purpose-built for security, and understanding how those deployments go in, how the software impacts hardware is what we know very well. So, upfront, from having a dedicated inside rep that's going to work in addition with your regional to provide that experience to you. But going through just having that contact, plus the install piece of that. So Miestone, which I'll get into a little bit, specialized product, anywhere from an add-on storage to health monitoring, remote maintenance. It's an RMR play for you guys. And then also our ecosystem partners. So I had just mentioned, software impact to hardware. We do extensive testing on that with our different partners. So understanding that we're able to provide that total solution to you guys, and then also working with them. So whether that partner might be a Miestone or a Cognify, working hand in hand to provide you guys with that best solution. And then of course, pre and post sales support. That's anywhere from design on the front end to support on the back end with your warranty coverage. We provide all of that for you straight from Seneca. There's not a third party that we bring in for support, for dispatching. It's all done through us. When we talk about ecosystem partners, Seneca is an Arrow company. It's actually Arrow is the company and Seneca is the brand. And being able to partner with a $32 billion+ company where they have logistics opportunity, capital funding. So, if you have a deployment where even if Seneca isn't on there, but everything that you can get through ADI, being able to finance all of that, whether it's a lease, that's something that Arrow can provide for you, and your regional would be able to help you with that. Arrow is the largest OEM provider of Dell. So that's another, partner that we have in this to provide you guys, again, with that overall experience. I want to take a step back on that. With that, sometimes we find that with the end user and our partners are not able to capture all the revenue, the hardware revenue, because maybe your end user is a Dell house, or they're under a certain contract, or their IT department is going to be able to say, hey, we can provide that. Please speak with your regional, your inside rep. Because of our tight partnership with Arrow and Dell, we can actually come in as a partner with you and bring that opportunity back to you guys, so it's not lost revenue for you. I do really want to quickly also say that there are questions up here. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in there, and we'll answer them at the end. Mike, if that's okay with you, we'll just wait until the end on that.
No, answering them at the end is fine. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Okay, all right, perfect. So, I'm going to take a deeper dive into the different, Maestro and what we give to you guys as an experience. But, one of the biggest things is making sure that your design is done properly. So when we redesigned our product selector, we took into consideration the multi-sensor lens, the smart codecs, Axis having zip stream, understanding, again, software impact to hardware. We've done that product selector to allow you guys, you can go in and play with it. I'm going to go ahead and go in here now and just show you just quickly what you can do on it. But understanding that you can go in and you can redesign, and I know your customers would never change the camera count, and we all know that that is not true. It allows you the option to save. I hate these. It's very secure. So you can go in and do your create a login. It'll save your recommendations. So when you do need to go in and change any of the camera counts, you're not having to go back through that and do it all over again. So I just want to quickly show you what it would look like, and just go through this really quickly. So you can go in here and you can select your camera group. You can save your camera group, and then you can add them in for any details. So once you get into your camera group, and I do want to show you if you guys can see this. You can go down in here. You can change your multi-sensor. You can change your recording schedule. You can change, obviously, days of storage. If you're doing H.264, H.265, you can go through that, and then you would go into your VMS selection. Again, understanding what the VMS does to the hardware. Once you go through that, it'll spit back out that recommendation. Now, this is not something that you have to do yourself. Your inside rep or your regional will absolutely do this for you. But it is something that, you get a bid request, at 5 o'clock in the evening and it's due the next day. It's something that you'd be able to do yourself and be able to go to ADI's website, get that part number, get pricing for it, and be able to submit. I know I haven't gone through the product yet, but I do want to point out this while I'm here. What's really neat about this opportunity or with this product selector is it's going to give you a lowest cost solution. It's going to give you fewest product recommendation. And so in this example, there was 8 for lowest cost, 7 for fewest. So it wasn't a ton of difference. But it's also going to give you a centralized solution, right? So maybe it's not a distributed architecture. They don't want, maybe there's 10 sites, but they don't want something in every server in every site. So it gives you those options, and we can go back and value engineer. So just something that you can play around with. You don't need, once you create the login, it's obviously we'll do the approval, give you access to it, and then you could save, like I mentioned, you could save those recommendations. So once you get that box, what does it look like? What is it that makes Seneca different from everybody else, from the VMS provider, and really it's that out-of-box experience. It's how long is it going to take to deploy that. It's Seneca understanding the difference between a standard Windows load and what is needed for a security deployment. So we've added Maestro. Maestro is an orchestration software. It takes out all of the guesswork for optimization for VMS setup. It is a matter of you being able to configure cameras in 20 minutes or less versus hours. The integration of xConnect, the health monitoring on every NVR that we ship out. So it's an RMR play for you guys. And this is regardless of the VMS, this is going to come on every NVR that we ship, and then backup. So, what happens when you lose your OS? There's a backup there. What happens not just if the system goes down and you lose an OS drive, but the amount of time that it takes for you to rebuild, reconfigure those cameras? Well, there's an option there for you as well, where you can save those. And it's not just saving it to a partition on the server, but it's saving it to a USB drive that is actually internal to the system. So you don't have to worry about keeping track of it, somebody yanking it out of the back of the machine. It's always there. So with, and I guess that's one thing I never check to do is there's automatic slide transition, so I apologize. So Maestro, there's a couple things that's really important about this first screen. So anytime you call into Seneca for tech support, we're always going to need that serial number. On this, you're going with Maestro, it's going to give you all of that information. It's going to tell you what's in that box, your serial number, what that box was built specifically for. It's also going to walk you through the VMS setup. So you have your optimization. There's nothing, at this point for you to do. It boots up, you select it, and it runs. And then once you get into your VMS, at this point you can rename it. So for those of you that are, experienced in installing, trying to change this after the fact is either not an option or it's extremely painful. So it's going to flag you to do that. And then after that, selecting your VMS. So if your VMS is Miestone, that's what's going to be on there. If your VMS is a Vigilon, that's what's going to be on there. Whatever that VMS is, that's what we're going to stage on there so that you have those options. What version do you want to use? Is it, you don't have to go to the internet. You don't have to have an internet connection to do that. Those are staged on there for you. Specific to a Miestone installation, you're actually going to have an option to, maybe you're adding to an existing deployment. You can load that from the management server. So all of your NVRs are set up exactly like the rest of them. So it's going to walk you through that. So it's a very easy process. In fact, after this, Mike, as another tool, what I would like to share is a video that we have that actually goes through. It's a 6-minute video, but it goes through what that installation looks like. It is specific to Miestone, but it is using Maestro. So just, plug in your VMS for it. And it's an excellent tool. But at this point, this is where you would configure your cameras. So like I said, under 20 minutes, you're ready to configure cameras. I don't, maybe getting a little bit more technical, but understanding that when we ship an NVR, The RAID is built out if it has RAID. Everything is done for you. So there's not hours of waiting for a RAID to build or, you know, finishing install on something else. So walking you through that. And then once you're done configuring that, that's where your option for the backup comes up. There's going to be your OS, standard OS option to back up the OS. But then there's also an option to speak with, you know, when you're designing out your solution, is to get where the ability to back up that configuration, like I stated. So, and you could do a couple of those. It's actually a licensed option, and you can back those up twice, or it repeats. So it just writes over the other one. So, you know, as you add cameras, say you have 50 cameras, add your 50 cameras, do the full configuration. Now you have that backup. And what's really important, and those of you who have experienced catastrophic failure, you understand the amount of time that it takes to reconfigure this. So this is a matter of having your end customer back up and running again in a matter of minutes versus hours. So this is a huge value add for you to propose to your customers. Another value on Maestro, this is all part of the Maestro tag, so it's going to be on that, on your desktop there, is the support screen. So just as we understand that the VMS is, so a Miestone hardware requirement is different than a Genetec hardware requirement, is different than a Cognify requirement, so is the support. And so Seneca has worked very closely with our ecosystem partners or with the different VMSs, understanding what those requirements are. And what the value for you guys is to have that one hardware platform, one solution to go to regardless of the VMS that you're offering, and understanding how that support is handled. And with that, we will log and capture all of that information. So let's take an example here with Miestone. We get the call in for support. We determine that it's not a hardware issue. So with all the testing that we have done on numerous VMSs, our team is actually very well versed in the different VMSs and can typically solve for any of those challenges. We don't have to go elsewhere. And also I guess in normal times and not 2020, I actually don't know if we've got everybody back in our Syracuse office, but our tech support team literally sits next to our engineering team. And I've been up there where they've actually pulled in engineering onto a technical tech support call. So, you know, while, you know, the mothership, if you will, might be a $32 billion company, we are a very intimate company, and we are very nimble, and customer care is really, really important to us. So that being said, the support screen is going to give you those options on here's what we need. So specific again to Miestone, we worked very closely with their engineering team, and Miestone said, hey, this is what we typically need if we're calling, you know, handling a tech support call. And then this is what Seneca needs. So all of that is on that screen. So there's no guesswork on, you know, what number do I call? Who do I reach out to? Am I going to have to go elsewhere? And the answer is no. It's all right there for you. All the data is captured so that we can share the information. And now that, of course, that I've gone through all of, you know, the why, I'm trying to make that as easy as possible on all of you, is what does the hardware look like? So again, everything we do is based on, you know, guaranteeing it for that software. So it's optimized for security. Like I stated, the OS is different for security deployment. It's not a file exchange server. So it's optimized for that. It's certified for that deployment. So whether, again, depending on the VMS, it's certified for that. And then it's guaranteed. So mitigation of risk for you guys is really what we're going for. And that is, you know, being, you know, we talk about being on time and under budget with Maestro. So being able to deploy instead of, you know, in 5 hours, you're ready to deploy in 1 hour. So what does that look like on the labor charge when you're going up against competition? Being able to either take that out or add it in, and it helps your bottom line. And then guaranteeing it. So understanding that, you know, if there's a challenge with days of storage, with throughput, everything that we do, we guarantee. So we walk side by side with our integration partners and say, we're going to guarantee this. We're going to take that risk from your hands and we're going to take it. So maybe we designed something, and of course we don't ever want this to happen, but we designed something and didn't take into consideration maybe, you know, a multi-lens camera, which we absolutely do. But if we somehow did not design that right, well, that can't fall back out on our integration partners. So we're going to take that risk. We're going to take that, you know, that charge and say, okay, we're going to cover that. So if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, it doesn't do what's advertised, we're going to replace that and we're going to make it right. So that's really where the optimized certified guarantee, it's a peace of mind for our partners. And then that's on our full product portfolio. So Seneca, like I stated, it's hardware purpose-built for security. So anywhere from NVRs to client stations. Again, client stations are your fries with a burger, right? Do you want fries with that? How many times do we lose the opportunity to capture the revenue for a client station because the end user thinks that they can view those, you know, 25, 26, 32, whatever cameras on their laptop at one time or what have you. So it's understanding, you know, we have that portfolio on the client side, again, specific to the VMS. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not, you can get this many streams with Miestone and Cognify and Genetec on this one machine. They're all different. They all play differently. They all require different hardware. And we understand that. In fact, you can reach out to your inside rep or regional, and they would be able to tell you exactly what that looks like. You know, you have 4 displays viewing 4K, 30 frames per second. Okay, here's what you need. Again, and we're going to guarantee that. The same with access control, hardware only. So, you know, depending on, you know, whether it's software house, whatever you guys are running. I know ADI would say don't unless you buy from us. But anyway, so again, guaranteed access control, analytics. So starting to see a lot more analytic opportunities coming in, build out for that, and add on storage. So I think one thing we also miss out on are these bigger deployments where they're looking for petabytes of storage, or that you're going into a situation where they've got, they already have the deployment, but now they want to go to 60 days. Something happened. Now they want to keep 180 days. What does that look like? As a value coming from our integration partners, you can go in and say, hey, you don't necessarily need to rip and replace this. Let's look at what your existing hardware is. Does it support this throughput? Does it support, you initial storage, and how can we add on to that to save them money? And then of course, you look like the hero being able to add on to that. And we have all those resources for you. We have, in this time, speaking about Aero, I know it's been a tough year for most of us. With Aero, we've done very well. We've stayed strong. We've actually brought on 4 resources specific to Seneca, and not had to let anybody go, but one of those being a solutions architect. So, again, more resources available to you guys and our partners so that we can help you build the right solution and bring value to your end customer. And then, of course, my favorite, and this is a whole other deep dive, I would say, because there's a lot to say here. We talk about getting sticky. We talk about life cycle of our customers. We want them to keep coming back. So when you take, a 5-year warranty, so with the exception of entry level, we have a 5-year Nexus Estate on-site warranty on all of our hardware. So being able to guarantee that for 5 years, being able to have somebody else dispatch come out on-site support for you, less truck rolls. So add that in with maybe an option on capital financing. You're going to lease this to your customer for 5 years, and then you're going to add on a maintenance agreement, and that's where xConnect comes in. So xConnect is going to give you the notification, prevent any kind of failure. So if something's going wrong, it's going to send that notification. If something goes down, it's going to send you that notification. And you can do this remotely. So on every box, xConnect is included. You can set that up. It's going to give you those notifications. It will monitor any IP device. So regardless of the camera that you're using, it will tell you whether that camera is down or not. And depending on the VMS, it's probably integrated. So out of the box, it's integrated with Miestone. So you don't even have to learn a new dashboard. Your customer can go in, you can go in, you can see that all through the Miestone VMS. But we do have a licensed version as well. Again, it's an ARM RPlay for you guys, and it's an add-on. And so when you take your 5-year warranty and the fact that we're going to dispatch and go on-site support, now you've got customers that need their VMS updated. They need an OS updated. There's an issue with the camera, and you don't know what it is, but typically you're going to cycle power on that, go out there, roll a truck, power down the camera, and then once it comes back up, oh, it fixed the problem. So imagine if you could do that all remotely, just from sitting in your office. And that's what xConnect, the licensed version, the cloud version, gives you. So add that in with your 5-year warranty, and now repeat. Now we give them updated servers, you redo the lease if it's a lease, and then you capture that customer for another 5 years. So, making sure that you're staying in front of your customers is the whole idea here. And there's a lot more, like I said, we could go into xConnect, and feel free to call me because I would love to do a presentation on this, but it is a secure gateway. So there's 256 encryption on it. So, we can speak to security. We could speak to the options here. And this is just being able to monitor all of your customers and really getting tight with them on your service agreements and recurring revenue. And I think that's it.